Living with Nousha. I'm Nousha, a former climber of the corporate ladder turned lifestyle entrepreneur. Each week, I'll bring you an inspiring message to support you in designing and creating a vibrant, fulfilling life. Thank you for joining me today. Now let's get started. Hello and welcome to Vibrant Living with Nousha. I'm Nousha, delighted to be here with you today and a very special guest, Dr. Heather Tick. Welcome, Dr. Tick.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So friends, today's episode is especially designed for those of you that are in pain, or perhaps you know someone that is in pain. Dr. Tick is a leading innovator in integrative pain medicine, and she has been solving very complex pain problems for over 30 years, although she doesn't look it. It's been over 30 years.
I started as a baby.
You started when you were young. And so I'm super excited because she has really supported tens of thousands of people to manage their pain, to get their lives back, and to really live like vibrant, fulfilling lives again. Now, although your training is in traditional medicine, what's interesting about Dr. Tick is that her approach is a non-pharmalogical approach. And so she likes to focus more on preventative measures such as the diet and the lifestyle in order to manage pain. And so I'm really, really excited to dive deeper. Now, there's two other things that I wanted to mention. And number one is that Dr. Tick herself has actually lived with pain and has had to manage pain herself. And so you will get a chance to hear her inspiring story. As well, Dr. Tick is a multi-book author, and she has authored some really powerful books, and that includes the Holistic Pain Relief, which is an in-depth guide for people to manage their chronic pains, for people that have to manage chronic pain. And I've read it and I absolutely love it, and that's one of the reasons I thought it would be so awesome to have you here today. Now, one last thing I want to share, if that wasn't enough about Dr. Tick, she's a phenomenal woman, and that is that she is also at the forefront of research. She teaches as a clinical associate professor at the University of Washington in the departments of family medicine and anesthesia and pain medicine. So, simply put, she empowers her patients to live pain-free and live full lives, vibrant, fulfilling lives. So really excited to dive in. And so I would love to start with your background, and that is that you've been trained in traditional medicine. What had you shift into integrative medicine?
Well, I think I always had an integrative soul, partly because I had a mother who cooked every meal, and I would look at how other people ate, and I would look at how we ate, and to me, I just understood that what we were doing with lots of vegetables and fruit and whole foods was really making a difference to our health, and I just kept pursuing that. I was a vitamin taker from my early 20s. I was making juices. I was making all sorts of things that have become more popular over the years, but I started early to do all those things. And then I went through my regular medical school education, and I recognized pretty early on that they don't talk about healing. Mm. They don't teach us about healing. Mm-hmm. They teach us a lot about disease, and it's important to know, but healing is a really important part of what needs to happen. And so much of healing happens because of the things we do for ourselves.
Mm. Beautiful. Beautiful. So you grew up in an environment that really supported the healthy eating and the healthy lifestyle as well.
Exactly. The other thing that I became aware of very early and paid a lot of attention to was the side effects of drugs. Mm. So that really caught my attention, the fact that drugs can be around for 25 years before we really find out how serious the side effects can be. And that was pretty disturbing to me. So I was never the first one to use a new drug, which many of my colleagues wait for new drugs and think they're wonderful, and I would look at them with a jaundiced eye. And so I was always looking for other ways other than drugs.
Wow, so beautiful. And so the area of integrative medicine is vast. What had you focus on exclusively on pain management?
Okay. Now let's first, for your audience, just make sure they know the difference between integrative and conventional medicine.
Sure, yeah.
So conventional medicine is what doctors learn, MD doctors, in medical school. So we learn a lot about disease processes and how to deal with disease processes. Integrative medicine includes that, but also takes into account the whole issue of healing and how healthy lifestyle can make you healthier. And then we collaborate really well with others. So people who practice other things like chiropractic and massage and some of the energy medicines even, and naturopathy and herbs, all those things, supplements, those things all become part of integrative medicine. So what got me to, one of the first things that really made it very apparent to me, and you know what, life sends us messages at times and sort of puts you in the direction. So I was in my first year of medical school and I was learning all this stuff about pathology and disease processes. And I got a shoulder injury. It was my right side, and over 6 months it just got worse and worse. I was in constant pain, and these were still the days, I'm showing my age, these were still the days where we carried books to school. Oh. And our books were this big. And we didn't have anything, nothing was online. We didn't have notes online. We didn't have lectures online. So you were going back and forth to school every day, carrying huge amounts of books. So my shoulder was really suffering. And I went through all the conventional stuff. I saw conventional doctors, tried conventional physical therapy, and nothing was working. And the drugs, the non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, were things I couldn't tolerate. So I was actually lucky because those are a very dangerous class of drugs, even though they're sold over the counter and people pop them like they're Tic Tacs. But I was enrolled in an acupuncture course outside of my medical school classes. And when I went to the class, they asked for a volunteer to be demonstrated on. So I quickly, my right arm was sore, so I stuck up my left arm very quickly and said, me. And they treated me. And they sent me home with some needles and told me what to do every other day for myself for the next few days. And within a week, this condition that was making my life miserable for 6 months was completely gone. And so that really drove home for me the idea that I'm not learning about healing in this education I have. It's a wonderful education. It was a wonderful school. But they teach a very narrow band of skills, and healing isn't one of them.
And then you chose to focus on pain management because... when I look back at things, that episode of pain was not necessarily, it wasn't the first time I'd had pain. There had been other times through my life that I'd had significant amounts of pain. But when you're really young, and because I actually had no diagnosable disease, you just accept what you're going through as being normal. And so I didn't really think about myself as being in pain. But I'm sure I had an affinity for the area. And I had always found workarounds. I'd always found ways of dealing with it. And when I got out into practice, the most interesting, puzzling cases were the people who were having chronic pain, because there weren't good, easy solutions out there in the community. They were the puzzling cases that people, and I hate calling people cases, but you know what I mean. They're circumstances.
People would come in and I'd try and solve it, and I'd send them out to different specialists and different people, and I wouldn't get satisfying answers back.
That are in the traditional medicine realm?
Or even with some of them, even there wasn't enough collaboration with other kinds of specialties, other kinds of professionals, that I was getting enough information that made sense. So I just set about getting myself more education, specifically on pain.
Wow, amazing. And today you're one of the leading innovators in the area of pain, and we're so blessed.
Well, it just proves if you stick with things long enough, eventually.
And it was your curiosity to solve the puzzle, and they're very complex puzzles. And
they are.
I'm curious how your approach is different than the traditional approach to managing pain. You did a beautiful job of sharing with us the difference between traditional medicine and integrative medicine, and to go deeper, how is your approach different?
Okay. So I look at what are the determinants of health. And so we know what makes for healthy people. It's nutrition, activity, managing stress, adequate sleep, and having meaning in your life. And so those are the things that I try and help people with while we're looking at different anatomical causes of pain, other kinds of things. So we can investigate, and this is why it's integrative, because you do both. You look at, okay, are there tests that inform what we should do? But in our medical tradition, we tend to focus too much on the tests, and we tend to believe that they tell the story, whereas it's the person's life that tells the story. So, for example, if you take 100 people with no back pain and you do MRIs on their backs, you're going to find, if they're 50 years old, you're going to find that 50% of them have abnormalities that doctors would normally call pain-causing.
Wow.
So that means if you're 50 years old, if you have back pain and you go to the doctor and you have an MRI that's abnormal, you only have a 50-50 chance of that anatomical difference on the MRI being the cause of your pain. Most people don't know that.
No.
And that's really an important thing to know. So I focus on the things, as I mentioned, that people can do for themselves. And I want them always to understand that they are not the same as their pain. That's really important too.
Wow, that's beautiful. And so it's so beautiful that you guide people. You do a beautiful job at guiding and navigating them through their holistic health journey, it sounds like, and really supporting them to understand, navigate, and bridge these two worlds of traditional medicine and integrative. Now, I know there's certain people listening who may be in pain, or maybe you know someone that's in pain. Dr. Tick, what would you suggest are some of the first steps that people can take in order to be able to bridge these two worlds and move forward more empowered?
Empowered is a good word. I like that word. And that's really how people should feel when they take charge of their own health. And I think taking charge is important. And the first thing you need to do is be informed. So get as much information as you can about how you're feeling and what some of the reasons are that you might be feeling that way, and what some of the changes are that, take a good, honest look at your health. What are some of the things that you could be doing that could make you healthier? The reason I wrote my books was exactly for that reason. I wanted to put the power into the hands of people so they could go with information to their healthcare practitioners, to their doctors, and say, look, I was thinking about these things and these are the questions I have. Can you help me with that? Can you answer those for me? I also do have free webinars as well where you can ask questions. So those are available. And just inform yourself. And of course the book will be on your website, so it'll be easy.
Yes.
And then we're creating, especially for you, a checklist of things of how people can stepwise go through things and get themselves to a better place, to be empowered.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Tick. So yes, Dr. Tick's book, Holistic Pain Relief, is on NoushaBehbahanian.com under the resources section, friends. and under Vibrant Mind. And as well, she is preparing a beautiful checklist to really support you or someone you know that is dealing with pain, that has more information about some of the first steps you can take, some information about the webinar where you can get some support, and maybe some questions that you need to ask your health professional in order to receive the support that you need if you're not receiving that support. And further to that, some tips on lifestyle and diet to decrease inflammation. And you talk a lot about that, and I love it. So you can also find that checklist on NoushaBehbahanian.com under the resources section. And Dr. Tick, it's such an honor to have you as one of our Vibrant Community Service partners. So friends, do take a look and take advantage of it. So, Dr. Tick, you have been a tremendous contribution to elevating our understanding of pain and how to manage pain. I'm curious, and I'm sure our listeners are curious too, as to what is your vision, mission moving forward to continue to elevate health on the planet?
Thank you for asking that. My goal has been to change how we do healthcare and to contribute to that mission. As I've explained, there's so little health in healthcare. There's a disease focus. And when we put all the things that are aimed at dealing with disease, diagnosing disease, focusing on disease, when we put that as the base of a pyramid, we miss out on so many of the things that should actually be at the base. The base of the pyramid should be the things that keep us healthy, the things that I mentioned before: diet, exercise, stress management, sleep properly, have meaning in life, have good connections with people. Those are the things that should be the base of the pyramid when we're pursuing health. And then we should be doing things that are least aggressive with our bodies. We need to be gentle with our bodies and our health. And then eventually we get up to the things that we need because they're miracles: drugs, surgeries, and procedures. When you have acute problems, of course, we go to those first. And I think the mistake we've made is that we now always go to those first instead of starting at the base. And so what I call it is healthcare right side up. So we've got it somehow backwards right now, upside down, and we need to set it right side up so that we really attend to our health. But that also goes for the health of the planet, too. We can't really forget that either.
Wow. So beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Tick, for the tremendous contribution that you are, and really for elevating health on the planet, for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today to generously share all these beautiful resources with the friends who are listening, and really being part of the change and the charge for putting healthcare, as you say so beautifully, right side up. And I love your approach and your philosophy, and I agree wholeheartedly with you. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to reach your audience, and hopefully they will share with their friends and colleagues and people they may know. And it's not just for pain, it's health. It's a health focus, and that helps everything, including pain.
Beautiful. And a preventative attitude. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much. And friends, thank you for joining this very important conversation. And again, as Dr. Tick so beautifully mentioned, if you do know anyone that is in pain, or even people that are enjoying health and that can learn more about preventative measures, because pain takes years and years to happen in our bodies, then please do take the time to share this episode. The ripple effect is immeasurable. And friends, until next time, be vibrant, be bright. It's your birthright. Now, let's go out there and shine our light. Thank you for investing this time with me on the Vibrant Living with Nousha podcast. I'm so glad that you joined our conversation. If you would take 2 minutes to positively impact someone's life by sharing this episode,
That would be wonderful. Please leave us a review by visiting iTunes. Let us know what you enjoy and what you'd like to see more of. It will support us on our journey to causing a worldwide epidemic of vibrant living. Until next time, be vibrant, be bright. It's your birthright. Now, let's go out there and shine our light.